By now, I'm sure you've all heard about what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia over the weekend. After a day of chaos and agitation, a reported neo-Nazi rammed a car into a crowded Black Lives Matter and Antifa protest, killing one woman and injuring at least 19 others. It's horrifying. Now, details are still coming out about the suspect, as I'm sure they will continue to do over the coming days and weeks. But for now, we know he's being held on suspicion of second-degree murder, multiple counts of malicious wounding, and leaving the scene of an accident. Our reporter Faith Goldie was there, reporting live. She had just crossed the street before the car came barreling down it. Her footage and the information she gave to the police will help to convict the killer. She was nearly killed herself, but our political enemies see this carnage and death as an opportunity to attack us before the final count of the injured and dead was even tallied. Here is the Alberta Finance Minister, Joe Ceci, using a death for political expediency. Joe Ceci tweeted, "Those who fan racism's flames, like the rebel, have no place in our society." And then here is Economic Development and Trade Minister Darren Billis, somehow linking me and our thousands of supporters to a neo-Nazi in Virginia. He tweeted, "I unequivocally denounce the racism and hatred in Charlottesville. Anyone who feels the same should denounce the rebel, period." And here is United Conservative leadership candidate Doug Schweitzer fighting for NDP voters by using the political violence and death to attack us for defending the First Amendment rights of all Americans, even those we find utterly reprehensible. Schweitzer tweeted, "Just watched the rebel feed from Charlottesville. Absolutely wrong. You can't give them a pass." Now, is he talking about neo-Nazis? No, he's talking about us. And then he tags in Jason Kenney and Brian Jean to, what, tell on us for reporting live what we saw? What kind of fevered and deranged mind does one have to have rolling around inside their skull to see that video we all saw of a woman being murdered in real time, right in front of the entire world, and say, how do I use this to attack my political critics half a world away? A woman is dead. She's dead. And the NDP are using this to attack the free press and future fourth place finisher Doug Schweitzer. The Michael Chong of Alberta is using it to appeal to the NDP base and liberal house husbands like Scott Gilmore. Schweitzer's actually using the death of this poor woman to try to become the next Alison Redford, cheered on by old PC cronies who see Doug as their only way back into power. It is one of the most disgusting and vile things I've ever seen in my lifetime in politics. What kind of mental gymnastics do these opportunistic ghouls have to do to accuse a Jewish-owned and run pro-Israel network full of Jews and other Zionists like me of sympathizing with the Nazi cause? Have you ever heard of anything so stupid? I mean, let's all just stop and appreciate that the NDP is the party of BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Jewish-run companies. And they're calling me hateful? That's pretty damn rich. Worse still, there are people out there who will, of course, readily believe the lies because they just couldn't be bothered to watch the other side. We aren't sympathetic to Nazis. We're sympathetic to the equal protection of civil rights like free speech for all people, even those we disagree with, the same way a lawyer like Doug Schweitzer should be. At this point, I'm pretty sure Doug Schweitzer would call Voltaire literally Hitler. Look, I hate political violence. I'm against all forms of it. The robust exchange of ideas without the threat of death or government crackdown is what constitutes a free and mature civil society. And unlike most people reporting or even commenting on it, I've actually been on the receiving end of political violence myself. Remember this?
Get out of my fucking face. I will break your camera. You do not have the right to...
Whoa! Well, those NDP ministers, Joe Ceci and Darren Billis, they couldn't find their tongues or their Twitter fingers back then to stand up and denounce that act of political violence against a woman at the very place they go to work every single day. But they want us to believe they care about political violence now? I sure don't. I think they only care so far as they can use this to throw red meat at their rebel deranged base. If they were really against hate, maybe they should sit down with their boss, Rachel Notley, and have a little chit-chat about her Che Guevara watch. Her Marxist revolutionary hero imprisoned and killed homosexuals and had some pretty disgusting things to say about black people. You know, when Che Guevara wasn't murdering political dissidents for wrong speak and wrongthink. But besides political violence, I've also been on the receiving end of government censorship too. I was blocked from doing my job, reporting on the Alberta government, at the hands of an armed sheriff at the request of the Alberta government. And I caught it all on tape. Just watch.
Do you have accreditation? For today's event?
We already spoke to Darcy Henton. He said there should be no problem to come in. What? Sorry, why is that? Sorry, why? So given what the NDP ministers, my very own government, has said about me, I can certainly expect more government censorship in my future. And they just gave the people who justify political violence, the Punch Nazis crowd, passive permission to come after me again. Talk about irresponsible to use their taxpayer-funded platform in such a reprehensible way. The NDP are using the violence and death in Virginia to attack the only media outlet that consistently holds their feet to the fire. I report on Joe Cece's financial dumpster fire all the time. I raked Billis for his attacks on farmers with Bill 6 and his lack of concern for Alberta's coal communities. Their vendetta against me and the rebel, it's personal for them. It's self-serving and disgusting, and it's insulting to Albertans if they think Albertans can't see right through what they're trying to do here. The NDP's little BDS plan for us, it isn't going to work, never works. Even though the simple opportunists in the NDP and Doug Schweitzer's NDP Blue campaign want you to believe otherwise, it's just not one or the other. Like blogger Kate McMillan once said, and I'm paraphrasing here, when the communists show up to protest the Nazis, you don't take sides, you pray for an asteroid. But the media and our politicians have decided that if we want to be against Nazis and political murder, we must support the violent Marxist left. It's not a zero-sum game here. How about I can't stand all of them, the neo-Soviets and the neo-Nazis alike, but at the same time I would do them no physical harm, and I will even defend their rights in a free society to speak and demonstrate peacefully, because that is what will truly distinguish us from the violent hate mongers and their evil, murderous ideologies on both ends of the political spectrum. Holding those values, that one's rights are God-given and not contingent on my feelings about someone and what they say or think, is what separates me and you from my progressive censors in the NDP and the fake conservatives who just can't wait to get into power to censor me some more. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. At the Rebel, we're no strangers to political censorship being thrown at us. But we've got a big plan to get around it to make sure it never happens to us ever again. Go to theycan'tstopus.com where you can learn about our very ambitious project and even donate to it.